Welcome back. And reading through the headlines, and Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry traveled to Germany to attend the second Berlin conference and a new round of peace talks on Libya. Shoukry affirmed Cairo's steadfast stance aiming for protecting Libya's sovereignty and territorial integrity, and definitely fulfilling the aspirations of the Libyans. And definitely Egypt had succeeded in Libya with all the achievements that has been there, and those achievements left also an impact on Turkey's policy in the region. Almost a year ago, the president stated that Egypt will not allow its national security to be jeopardized as a result of any sort of developments in Libya, and it will take all the measures concerned to protect its interests and national security. And to read further this headline, we are really honored to have with us His Excellency Ambassador Mohamed Oraby, former Minister of Foreign Affairs. Your Excellency, thank you so much for joining us live on the Daily Debate. And reading through the headline, this important trip by Egypt's top diplomat to Germany, attending the second Berlin conference and the new round of peace talks on Libya. How do you read this headline, Your Excellency?
I think we can say that Egypt has played an important role, and even pivotal role in the crisis of Libya. And I think the results today of the final statement after these talks of Berlin II, I think it shows that Egypt, since the beginning of the involvement in the political attempts to restore stability and peace in Libya, I think our endeavor proved it is, the best roadmap to implement stability and peace in this important country, which is part of our national security, of course. And I think our role in Libya is part also of our, let us say, diplomacy, which have been adopted since President Sisi assumed power in Egypt, and he was always interested, to have good and coherent diplomacy with all the African countries, and of course Libya is an important part of our African diplomacy. Yes. And Egypt, as you know, always adheres to the principles of the AU Charter. And we are always, calling for more cooperation and friendship, relationship between the African nations. But of course, Libya is an important, cornerstone of our national security. That's why Egypt always pay more attention to the situation there, and trying always to play a political role in order to help the Libyans to have united front and to preserve their sovereignty over their lands. Of course, there is a lot of problems and challenges facing all these attempts, and I think the Berlin II statement, I think they were, successfully characterized all the challenges and how to solve all these things in an international approach. Yes. Which is very important because, the international community should assume its role in order to have peace and stability in this important country.
Yes, definitely. Your Excellency, Egypt achieved success in Libya, and this, in fact, had left an impact on Turkey's policy in the region.
Yeah, I guess, our firm diplomacy concerning Libya, I think it was a clear direction to everybody that Egypt is always interested, for the stability of this country, and we are against any foreign interference, foreign domination from any country, and also the countries which dispatch mercenaries and foreign troops to Libya. I think all the international community now is against, this kind of direction from Turkey, and I think the Turkish government should play another role and should try to help the Libyan people, in order to have more stability in the region, and they should recognize that dispatching, those people and deploy the Turkish army, I think it is not the helpful achievement or as a helpful tool for the Libyans, but on the contrary, it will complicate the situation, and it might be even jeopardize the next election on the 24th of December, which I think it will be an important event for the Libyan people.
Yes, Your Excellency, since assuming power and after June 30th revolution, the president had pursued a policy of openness to everyone, building balanced relations with the outside world, with the global powers and with our neighbors, and retrieving relations with Africa. So this is definitely reflecting the political leadership far-sighted vision vis-a-vis achieving this sense of diversification and balanced relations with the outside world in a sense of partnership.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think, the leader of Egypt, the president of Egypt, I think he was so prudent when he decided, to have this kind of good relations with different countries all over the world, even some small countries. I think he visited some countries as the first Egyptian president to visit, but he was always keen, to reflect all this kind of foreign policy on the development of the country of Egypt and the impact on the welfare of the Egyptians. So I think the foreign policy of Egypt during this last 7 years, it was a very good tool in order to raise the standard of living for the Egyptians, and it helps Egypt to be more active and even has a lot of influence and leverage on some problems and crises in the region. And I think we successfully, proved that we can play this important role, and a lot of nations now they recognize that and supporting our endeavor in order to have peace and stability in the region.
Yes, and also during the Egyptian chairmanship of the African Union, major achievements has been there with Egypt as chair of the AU. We can say that this sense of dynamism that has been witnessed in relations between Egypt and Africa, and Egypt also has been building in a sense of coordination on what has really been achieved through this foundation, and what has been the inspiring achievements in the fruitful year of the Egyptian chairmanship of the AU.
Yeah, I think during that year, I think Egypt was keen to cement the principles of the AU and to raise the level of cooperation between the African nations. And as you are aware, Egypt now is helping Tanzania to build a huge dam, the Mereris Dam. So Egypt is always, instrumental for the development in the African continent. But unfortunately, some other countries, they are not even looking to the AU Charter, trying to harm some African neighbors countries, and I will not name which countries, but anyway, I think this is the spirit now in the African nations, that they are detect a sort of a new crisis will raise, and the new crisis will develop in the near future, and more tension will be between some African countries, especially on the Horn of Africa. And I think the African, or let's say the AU, should stop this country from trying to sabotage the spirit of the AU Charter. And in the meantime, to stop, this kind of unresponsible behavior from this country.
Yes, Your Excellency, Ambassador Mohamed Oraby, former Minister of Foreign Affairs of Egypt. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for always adding value and for this live discussion, elaborating further on Egypt's top diplomat visit to Germany and also the fruits of Egyptian-African relations. Dear viewers, we're still discussing with you more concerning this important file, Egypt's relations with Africa, and a lot actually has been done in this file and also is still going on. And another headline has been also a meeting on behalf of the local governments of Africa's Secretary General that has happened here. This 25th meetings that has happened in Cairo, Egypt, has been really also fundamental in opening new horizons of cooperation between Egypt and Africa. A short break, and we'll be back to further discuss this important file.